Yeah, we're back. I always wanted to say that, just like Jimmy Fallon on Saturday Night Live when he was doing the radio show thing. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. But we're still counting down Let Freedom Rings top 100 movies of all time. We want to get to the next part of the list. We're going from actually it's about 74 to 50 here because we really want to count this down. I want to get into what the big ones are and what we're kind of feeling about these movies here. But I appreciate everybody tuning in. This was really harder to do than I thought. Even now, going over it, I go, man, should I put this one in or that one in or whatever. This is really hard, so I really appreciate that Mike Daggs kind of got this rolling. Um, because I know he's put out his list, but I want to put out mine as well. So we will get into this. Coming in at 74, I want to talk about this movie here. We have The Karate Kid Part 2. Now, I really enjoy this movie. It looks beautiful, and I know they didn't film it. I don't believe it was filmed in Japan, but um, I think it was filmed in Hawaii, if I'm not mistaken. But correct me if I'm wrong, anybody watching this. But it just looks beautiful. Everything, it doesn't. It comes not too far after the first one. I thought Chosen was a great villain in this movie, and again, we don't really want to spoil things here, so we're really just kind of giving a list and. Let you decide if you want to watch it if you haven't already. But I absolutely love this movie. It was a good continuation. Um, of the Karate Kid. Very fast, but I mean, honestly, the difference is he was fighting in a tournament in the first one, and in this movie, he is in a fight to the death. But I just enjoy it. This is something I relate to my father with a lot. He's a big Karate Kid fan, so Karate Kid 2 has a big piece of my heart. Going in at number 73 here, we have Ace Ventura, and we're going back to comedy here. I to this day, I laugh at this movie so hard, and I know a lot of people, a lot of Gen Z, they look at this movie now and they think it's really offensive on some of the things that were done or said in there, and I don't disagree quite with some of their takes on that. But it was the movie of its time, and it's what really put Jim Carrey on the map. Um, but it's just hilarious the way that Jim Carrey, his delivery on everything was hilarious. Even when he's talking to Dan Marino, Dan Marino asks him for a piece of gum, and he says, "I would like you to stay out of my personal business." And it just everything about this movie. It's absolutely hilarious. It's in my collection, and it's something that honestly I have to rewatch. Here and there. Like I said, there are some stuff in it that I understand that people, in 2023 maybe don't find as funny as they did in 1994, but society is always changing, and that's a good thing, and some of it, but I do think those parts, there's still a lot of funny stuff to it, and I think that the part that people find offensive can be funny too. It all depends on your perspective, um, on how you think things are offensive or not. Coming in at 72, we have Super Troopers. Now, the Broken Lizards, man, this group, obviously, they've already been on the list earlier on with Beer Fest, but this was probably their big, big, big movie. No one really knew, or at least I didn't, when this came out. I believe in like 2001, 2002. I didn't see it in theaters or anything like that. But man, when I first got my first taste of this, I couldn't stop laughing even from the beginning when they're talking about littering and just when this movie is great. If you haven't seen Super Troopers, you have to see it. um, I do believe that this is one of the funniest movies of all time. None of these guys went on to be, you know uh, admittedly, they're not household name guys. but when the Broken Lizard got together, they always produced great movies, and this is one of their. This is probably, in my opinion, their best. And I could watch this over and over again. So definitely check that out if you've never seen it. Going in at 71, we have It. Now, the original It, I am a fan of as well. It doesn't quite make my top 100. I thought this. I will admit, I didn't know much about It before I saw this movie. At the time, my roommate was like, "You really have to go see this movie. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love the story." And I've been hooked on everything with Pennywise in it ever since. This was my. I thought the kids were really great in this movie, like unbelievable for child actors. And I know they did the sequel. The sequel doesn't quite make the list for me, but I gotta say, like they were fantastic, and Pennywise was great too. Like this movie, to me, it's not terrifying. I don't find the It movies terrifying like some other people will, or as scary. But I think the story is really good. So obviously, it's condensed from what the book is, but highly recommend it if you want to check that out. Definitely do that as well. Um, and we're going to go to number 70 here, which is Halloween. Same name as the original Halloween, 2018. As I am a big fan of the Halloween movies. As you can see, you have Michael Myers in the background here. There's other Michael Myers stuff in the background. I love Halloween, and I rewatch these movies every Halloween. I want to rewatch them all. When this came out in 2018, obviously, I had to see it. Um, I don't think it's the greatest one, but it's enough to be on my list. I really enjoyed this movie. I really like rewatching it. I don't like how this trilogy ended, but this one was really good. I thought the story was good. Obviously, it doesn't connect. It is just a sequel from the first movie. So it's a really good. It's really good. It's good horror, um, and it's definitely it's worthy of this list for sure. Going into number 69, Gronk's favorite number here. We have Back to the Future 2. I love this franchise. I'm not as huge of a fan of the third one, but I love one and two. This one is all over the place, though. It has its ups. It has its downs. As Biff kind of figures out, and I don't. Again, we don't want to do spoilers here. If you want to, in case you've never seen these movies and you're watching, and this is, we've always said this on Let Freedom Ring. Like a lot of times we talk about shows, movies, music, we're suggesting things, so we don't want to spoil too much. But um, this is worth checking out. I know there was a meme going around saying that on this day in 2023, Marty McFly went back to the future. That's not true. It's at 2015, which, yeah, this is a great movie. There's their ups and there's downs to it, but obviously, Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox, the chemistry they had and just the way these guys act in these movies was just unbelievable. And I have to say, because I've learned a little bit about the Back to the Futures, where uh, you know they wanted Michael J. Fox, they couldn't get him. They tried to go somewhere else. They realized it couldn't work. I just felt bad for the actress who played Jan in The Office because she was originally casted with the other actor, and when they did finally get Michael J. Fox, they said she was too tall to be in the movie, and she was let go. And a lot of people probably didn't know about this actress until she did The Office. So, but this is probably not the last time on this list you're going to hear about Back to the Future. Coming in at 68, we have uh, this is just a great movie. We have Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. Um, I was a big fan of Clerks. Um, as I was a lot younger, obviously, when Clerks came out, and I only knew so much about it, but I did find these characters very entertaining. And this, I thought, was Kevin James, in my opinion, just having some fun, right? This movie is not, again, these are Let Freedom Ring's favorite movies. This does not mean this is a 4-star movie or anything like this. This is my favorite movies. This is Kevin James just having a good time, bringing his friends in. Even the cameos from Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in this movie are just funny, and it's just a great. Um, it's something you would rewatch over and over. Um, Shannon Elizabeth is beautiful in this movie, but honestly, this is just. It's not. Is it the greatest movie of all time? No, but it's so damn funny, and it's just these actors just having a good time. And you know what? When you're watching a movie, sometimes that's all you want. It's just having a good time with it. So, Jane Silent Bob Strikes Back comes in at 68, coming in at 67. And you gotta have this. Gotta have it on your list. You gotta have Chris Farley somewhere on your list when you're talking about your favorite 100 movies because he was so goddamn funny. So we got Tommy Boy coming in here. Hold on here. Let me get the right banner for that. As I got to update that. Um, oh, hold on. Maybe we don't have a banner for Tommy Boy. It looks like we missed that one, which is okay. We will ignore that right now. But yes, Tommy Boy, one of my favorite movies. There's a lot of scenes in this movie that I just have to rewatch over and over again. The chemistry between Chris Farley and David Spade, obviously unbelievable. Um, his whole scene about selling, they're selling brake pads, and he talks about the chicken wings and how much he sells that, and realizes that okay, Tommy Boy is actually a great salesman. This movie is rewatch. The rewatchability on this is very high. If you've never seen Tommy Boy, I highly recommend it. I know a lot of people were sad Chris Farley's untimely death in 1997. My God, though, in the short time he was here, um, a lot like Belushi, and we're definitely going to get to Belushi in this 100 movies list. He left his mark in a very short time, and he's a very unforgettable actor, on the comedy side. So we love some Chris Farley. All right, coming in though, next movie here, coming in at 66. And we apologize. We did not have the I don't know how I missed that on there, but we had the picture. We didn't have the words there. But coming in at 66. Another movie I really, really enjoy this. I've talked about this earlier because we talked about When Harry Met Sally. We have Ghost here. This is Patrick Swayze. This is Demi Moore. Two goats of the industry, really. Ghost, to me, is another. I'm not huge into love stories, though. I don't know. I don't know. A lot of people like rom coms. I don't. I guess I'm not against them. This is obviously not a rom com, and anyways, so I apologize. I'm going off topic there. This is just a great movie. Patrick Swayze gets killed early on. I don't want to spoil again if you haven't seen it. And if you've seen the movie, you know how great it is. But it's a classic love story where he's trying to communicate with his girl after he is murdered. So I don't want to go too much into that, but Whoopi Goldberg has a huge role into this. But Ghost is a movie that I believe it's got to be in your collection. Absolutely love this movie. Um, R.I.P. Patrick Swayze. He was a great actor. I don't have Roadhouse on this 100, but I do love Roadhouse too. But yeah, Ghost is a great movie. Great love story. Very sad. As anybody that's ever lost someone they were in love with, I know that does happen. So this is it's heartbreaking, but really good at the same time. So we want to go to the next movie here, which is the Terminator, the first one, and we will talk about T2 in this before the 100 is named. But Terminator is just, some of the math on it I'm not a huge fan on the years and stuff. But Terminator is again, rewatchability. I'm not the biggest Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, but he does come up here on this list quite a few times, so I guess I have to give him his roses there. This is an unbelievable movie. Really love it. Love the story. Not a big fan of anything after T2, but this first one is really good, and highly recommend it. And it's a movie that I rewatch all the time. Coming in at, let's see here, 64. We have The Wedding Singer. Again, we talked about this a little bit. Um, Adam Sandler is going to be mentioned. He is now mentioned again on this list. I am a big comedy fan as much as I am a horror fan. Um, this movie this is my favorite Adam Sandler movie by far. Man, does he make me laugh throughout this whole thing. This could have been brought to my attention yesterday. Again, we don't want to spoil anything, but man, Wedding Singer, so damn funny. And it's Steve Buscemi's up in this movie with little roles. And if you know Steve Buscemi, you know how great he is. Drew Barrymore, obviously, but I thought the whole cast is great. I love that it's filmed in the '90s, but takes place in the '80s. Everything about The Wedding Singer is great, and to me personally, I think it's Adam Sandler. I think it's better than Billy Madison. I think it's well, no, no, I think it's better than Happy Gilmore. Um, and I think that just like, yeah, I do think it's better than Billy Madison too. But I think, yeah, getting a little lost on this here. I think it's his best work. I really do think this is his best work. I think this is where he was the most funny. Billy Idol makes an appearance in the movie, so got to check out The Wedding Singer for sure. Coming at 60, let's see, 63, we have The Godfather. This is, I'm probably going to get grief about this. And a lot of people say, well, Dan, I know how much you love mafia movies and things like that. I figured it'd be higher on your list. I love The Godfather. I absolutely do love The Godfather. It's long. But it is definitely something that I will probably not, again, it's in my collection, but it's not something that I rewatch every year. But it's something that Marlon Brando's amazing. In this, Al Pacino's amazing. This is one of the, if you want to talk about one of the greatest movies ever made, you have to talk about The Godfather. For me personally, and I love The Godfather, it's not my top 10. It's just not. But I love it. I love it. And it's something that, again, it reminds me of my father. This is something we enjoyed together. So love The Godfather. Coming in at 62. And this is going to get a lot of people going because I know a lot of people love this. And it's great to see these guys. I'm blanking out on Squints here, so I'm going to take this off for a second. Um, I know everybody, if you love baseball movies, okay, this is one of the movies for you, The Sandlot. And honestly, it takes me back a little bit because when we were kids, we didn't have a Sandlot, but we played baseball in the street, and we played the dead end in our neighborhood all the time. And this was just, I remember watching this. I don't think I knew about it till about '94. I think my dad borrowed the movie from a friend at work, and we got to watch it on VHS. Yes, that's how old I am. We had VHSs. They weren't that bad. They weren't great, but they weren't that bad. Um, And yeah, we just enjoyed it. Benny the Jet Rodriguez, everything about this, you know, the Great Bambino. Highly, highly recommend this for anybody that's a baseball fan. I bet a lot of people that are going to watch this are big fans of The Sandlot. You gotta have it. You gotta have this on your list. No doubt about that. So that's number 62. Coming in at 61, we have Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors, Nightmare on Elm Street 3. And to be honest, and I've talked about this on other shows. I was not a horror guy until I was older in life. I would say about college is when I started to get into it. It's when I started to get into the Halloween movies, which kind of led to the Friday the 13th, which also led to the Nightmare on Elm Streets. I'd always heard such good things about this movie. I actually have it on a T-shirt as much as I love this movie. Um, you have oh my goodness, Arquette in this movie, the female Arquette. She's great in it. I know she's not in the sequel after it, but they fight against Freddy. Um, and they team up and they figure out how to use their dreams against him, which was fantastic. I absolutely rewatched this movie a lot. I don't want to give too many spoilers. I don't like what happened with Nancy. I think she should have kept going. But Dream Warriors, just absolutely love this movie, and I love to rewatch. The rewatchability is huge to this one. So I want to go into number 60. We got Friday the 13th, Part 6. Jason Lives. Now, you might be saying to yourself, you go, are you really putting a movie that is number 6 in a franchise? I am. I am. I do love this. Is anybody that knows me, I love horror movies. I love the franchise horror movies more than ever. But Jason Lives, to me, isn't your typical horror movie. It's what a horror movie needs to be. Okay? Accepts how ridiculous that you are. Okay, these slasher films got very ridiculous, and when you're doing a sixth movie of a franchise, you're gonna get a little ridiculous, and they kind of expose that and accept that for what it is, and it makes this film so much goddamn fun. I can rewatch it. I can rewatch that. Every Friday the 13th. I have so much fun watching the resurrection of Jason. We don't want to get into too much, but the zombie of Jason. But this is so much fun. Obviously, they go into other realms where they do. I think Jason takes Manhattan, but he really didn't. It was just Jason on a boat. Um, in my opinion, is what it was. But Jason Lives is just it's so entertaining. Watch this movie. If you like horror, but you also like to see kind of horror look ridiculous, um, Jason Lives is for you, and it's just a lot of fun. Coming in at 59, we have Rocky 4, and we have some other Rocky on this list. Um, this was just Rocky United. He ended the Cold War essentially. No, I'm just kidding, but man, everything with Drago and Rocky was just a great story of. I guess this movie's as old as I am, so I guess I might be spoiling a little bit. But Apollo Creed being killed, who was Rocky's rival, and they trained him and everything. Like everything about this film is just enjoyable. But it's typical '80s. You're gonna get the montage, um, but it's just again we talk a little bit about this with Jason Lives, just previous. It's just these movies were fun. It's not always about winning the Academy Award, which this movie would not win that. But as an entertainment value, this Rocky 4 is just fun. Um, Rocky has to go fight Drago in Russia and everything, with everything going on at the time in the world. Like, it is a great movie. Definitely has to be on the list. And man, you watch Rocky 4, you're gonna have a good time. We will go to now 58, and again, seeing on the list, Joaquin Phoenix tells you how great an actor he was. Reese Witherspoon as well. The Story of Johnny Cash, June Carter. Um, More about Johnny Cash, obviously, but and his wife. But this is just unbelievable. Um, they transformed into these characters, into these people that were real, and singing their own parts of these of the songs, these historical songs from Johnny Cash and June Carter. Joaquin Phoenix really did become Johnny Cash in this movie, and it was just so freaking good. I was not even a fan of Johnny Cash. I just didn't grow up with it. I wasn't really a fan of Johnny Cash. Not like I didn't like him, but I didn't really listen to his music until I saw this movie, and then I became a fan. And this movie has stuck with me for a long time, and I could rewatch this all the time. Going in at 57, we're going back to comedy here. Anchorman, and here's a movie that probably would have been higher on my list when I was a little bit younger. But I still really, really enjoy this. This is, in my opinion, this is Will Ferrell at his best. Okay, this is Steve Carell. This is before he did 40-Year-Old Virgin. He's in the movie too. Paul Rudd's in the movie. Uh, they just knocked it out the park. Uh, Christina Applegate's in the movie. Everything about this was just it was just so funny, and and I bring it back to the Adam Sandler movies. Is like some of these, like I'm saying, like a lot. I just realized that, but whatever. Who cares? Um, when you can quote movies over and over with your friends, and they understand what you're talking about, there's something so cool about that, and that's Anchorman. That's a lot about Anchorman, and that's definitely one of my favorites as well. Um, all right, next we have I Love You Man. This literally just constantly made me laugh. This is, Jason Segel kind of knew, we knew of him before How I Met Your Mother and the stuff he did with Knocked Up and other movies. To me, this was like his breakout where you're like, damn, this guy is so goddamn funny. And Paul Rudd, another, Paul Rudd, we kind of already knew, but like the chemistry between these two, Paul Rudd, and again, we don't want to give too much away, but Paul Rudd is trying to find a best man. He doesn't have any guy friends, and he meets Jason Segel, who's this wild cat. I was never into the band Rush until I saw this movie, um, but this really has made me laugh quite a bit. Oh, Zoe, beautiful Zoe, give it back. There's so much funny stuff to this that the rewatchability on this is high, and something I really really enjoy, and would rewatch it over and over. Coming in now at 55. Big fan of the Batman, as they would say. Um, my favorite Batman is Michael Keaton. And this movie is another one I could rewatch over and over. So many great versions of Batman, but also so many great versions of the Joker. Obviously, we had Heath Ledger, who I think is the GOAT of the Joker, and Joaquin Phoenix was so good, but Jack Nicholson was so good with this too. Uh, but Batman will always be Michael Keaton to me, and this is just great movie to rewatch. You got Prince on the soundtrack. Like, there's just so much to this. Highly recommend this. Coming in at 55. Coming in now at 54, we have Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. And again, I'm sure I might get some heat for some of these picks where people are going to be like, "Are you serious?" But At the same time, this list is not what I'm saying is the best movie of all time. They are to me, but this is my list. And the return of Michael Myers is huge. If anybody knows anything about the Halloween series, their whole plan was to make a different kind of Halloween movie every year. And for the third one, they did Season of the Witch, and no one wanted anything to do with it. They wanted their Michael Myers back. That's who they enjoyed. That's who they wanted to watch. So they went back to the well, and they went back to Michael. Um, I really enjoy it. I don't love the I have some criticism of the mask, but overall, I love Halloween 4. It's another movie that I have to rewatch it. If I don't watch one of the Halloween movies, I try to watch as many as I can during the Halloween season. This is one I have to rewatch every year because I absolutely love it. I love throwing in the niece aspect to it. Um, this is one of my favorite films to watch. I mean, honestly. And again, I'm not saying this is knocked out of the park by any means because I don't think it is, but it's my list. So we will go now to 53. We're going back to another comedy, American Pie. Um, Man, I just want to talk about this film for a quick minute. I remember being in eighth grade, underage, and we snuck in to Premiere 8 in Nashua to go see this movie. We'd heard the hype, and we snuck in. I was in middle school, and obviously the whole premise of the movie is being in high school, which I wasn't quite there yet. But man, I loved American Pie. And some of the stuff, again, we talked about with Ace Ventura, maybe didn't age well, and people get offended by it. But okay, that's totally fair. But this was like one of the and we're gonna get to another American Pie movie at some point in this list. But this was like my generation. It really was, and this was just a fun at that time of your life. A lot of the stuff that goes on in the movie, that's what you were thinking. As an adult, obviously very different, but as an adolescent and about to be in high school, you could relate to so much that went in there and love the characters. And the rumor is there may be a new one coming out at some point. So very excited about that. Now coming in at 52, um, may get Halloween Kills. This Halloween Ends really did piss me off. I'm not gonna lie. It really, really annoyed me. With that being said, this movie was the movie before. And again, we're not saying this is a 4-star movie because it's not, but it's something I enjoy. This is finally Michael Myers, who's about 60 years old at this point, just destroying everyone. And if you're a fan of Michael Myers, right? And again, this is fiction or whatever. This is Michael on steroids. Okay, this is Michael Myers on absolute steroids, wasting everybody. Um, and honestly, I loved it. Loved this film. Hated how everything kind of ended. Halloween Ends. Not a fan. I thought that was atrocious how they did this, how they ended this, and we've done a review here, and I don't want to keep going back to that, but I thought Halloween Kills, it's almost in my top 50, so that tells you how much I actually like this movie. But very disappointed in the ending, but this was freaking awesome, and yeah, that's why it's as high as it is. All right, coming in at 51, The Big Lebowski. This is just, if you haven't seen it, stop what you're doing, turn this video off, don't watch anymore, and go put this on. I'll give you a second to do that. No, this is just so 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 funny. John Goodman is just I didn't know until I saw this movie how funny, you'd always seen him just in Roseanne, right? I didn't know how funny he actually could be. And he was great. Steve Buscemi's in this. Jeff Bridges. A lot of guys in here, though. If you look at it at the time, right? They weren't guys that you would say. I guess Goodman was on Roseanne, which is kind of a comedy show, but there was a lot of serious stuff that happened in Roseanne. They just weren't guys you thought were comedy guys. Um, and what's his name was also in it. I'm sorry. Another what's his name here? God, Philip Seymour Hoffman, who OD'd in 2014. Another guy has a role in this that was just so funny. What a cast! I believe this movie's been put in a vault here for future generations. Um, the Big Lebowski is just so good. Uh, who else am I missing here? I'm missing somebody here. Oh, John Turturro's in it. Nobody, the Jesus. Um, if you have not seen this movie, okay, I know this isn't in my top 10, my top 20, my top 30. Stop what you're doing and go see this movie because it is so funny. And now to round this out, finish this part of top movies, we have The Karate Kid. Um, Gotta say, it's a great underdog story. I think I became bigger of a fan uh, later in life than I was as a kid. And what I found is it's a great underdog story. Johnny Lawrence uh, picking on uh, my gosh, Danny. I'm struggling right now. It's just a good movie. Um, yeah, I mean that's really Dan LaRusso. I don't know what's wrong with me right now, but um, yeah, no, this is a great movie. Karate Kid. One of the good sports movies as well. Great underdog story. Pat Morita was amazing in it as Mr. Miyagi, and now it's gone on to have this huge legacy with Cobra Kai. But really, yeah, I big fan of this. The rewatchability is huge on Karate Kid. I highly recommend it. I think most people have seen this. Um, but yeah, you really can't go wrong with it. Um, but it is one of those movies where it's like, LaRusso was the underdog, right? But did was Johnny all that bad? It's up to you to decide. But anyways, that's gonna finish that up for this segment. We have two more episodes coming of top movies. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you it took a look and I hope if these are movies you have not seen. I hope that you do go out and see them. That's why I try to avoid spoilers. But um, I just want everybody out there to yeah, take a look at this, enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, that's fine too. But everybody out there, keep your heads up and continue to let freedom ring.